with the message taken inside and expanded upon. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, to feel that feeling of sanctuary, to know that wherever we are, whatever we're attempting, whatever we're going through, whatever life brings us, the sanctuary we seek is within. That space where we feel safe, loved, comforted, enlivened, healed. That space begins within. That knowing begins within. And though things outside may help or nurture this feeling or give us tangible reminders that it is ours, it comes from within. It begins within. God, Source, the energy of the universe, for each of us individually begins at the point of us. At the point of me, I see. And in order to see clearly and with great vision for what might be, I take these moments, and moments at home, and moments whenever I can, to step into that feeling of sanctuary inside. We might even say we mother ourselves. We nurture ourselves, because the presence of God is the divine nurturer. The presence of God awareness is my solace. It's my strength. It's my rock that I stand upon and build my life upon. And it's the softest place I will ever land. Sanctuary. We take just a moment to feel that when I say sanctuary, when we sing sanctuary. In this moment of meditation, let's just take a moment to allow that feeling to course through our veins. Sanctuary. Safety. The presence of God present in this and every moment. We are the sanctuary we seek, because within us, God begins for us. We are the sanctuary we seek, because the God that is the allness of sanctuary begins within. We take just a moment in that feeling of safety and security, in this cocooned, sacred safety. We just let that feeling feel through us. We share it with those in this space, and we blast it out around this beautiful, beautiful planet we call home, and into the cosmos for everyone to take part in. Sanctuary in a moment of silence. And then wherever that breath has carried us, we allow that sacred sanctuary to stay. We allow it to be present in every moment. We allow it to flow. Grateful, so grateful. We say, thank you, God, and so it is, and amen. Amen. So, happy Mother's Day, everyone. And I still, my dad, love my dad. I cannot go through a Mother's Day, hear someone say Happy Mother's Day without seeing my father. Now, you know my sense of humor, so you know there had to be something there with my mom and my dad. And my dad would always say, yeah, and Happy Mother's Day to you too. So he owned Mother's Day in a completely different way. And I think that helps me to have my expansive view on Mother's Day. But what I have found Mother's Day to be for the last 4 years, whether it's the same calendar day or not, Mother's Day 2022, was the first time I stood on this stage and talked to you. Boy, if we only knew what we know now then, right? But I told you then, and you guys know how I love the history of things and where they come from and where they began. And the first Sunday that I stood on this platform, and I didn't share it last year, but this year it feels right to share again. You know, Mother's Day didn't start out as a Hallmark holiday, and we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes, but before the actual holiday of Mother's Day started, years before, a woman named Julia Ward Howe made a proclamation on behalf of mothers everywhere and nurturers everywhere, because she was brokenhearted by war, by the Civil War. And she was doing a lot of work to help bring peace through the moms. And she made this declaration, and I think it bears repeating this year. It's a little bit long, so bear with me, please. Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of counsel. Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each learning after his own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God. In the name of womanhood and of humanity, I earnestly ask that a general Congress of women without limit of nationality may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects, to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace. Written in 1870 by the same woman who wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic. This is what eventually led to Mother's Day, because the mother of the woman who got Mother's Day deemed the Mother's Day holiday worked with this woman for peace. And after she died, well, I was going to talk about it later, I'll talk about it now. After she died, Anne Reeves Jarvis, her name was, and after Anne Reeves Jarvis died, she was a peace activist who cared for Civil War wounded. Anna Jarvis, her daughter, following her mother's 1905 death, she led a campaign for a national holiday which President Woodrow Wilson signed into law in 1914 to be held on the second Sunday of May. So that's why we have Mother's Day on the second Sunday of May. The founder, Anna Jarvis, aimed to honor the sacrifices mothers make for their children. She envisioned a day for personal, heartfelt letters and reflection, not for commercialized cards and gifts. The first official service following her mother's death in 1905, she held the first official Mother's Day service on May 10th, 1908 at Andrews Methodist Episcopal Church in Grafton, West Virginia. Now, Methodist Episcopal Church fascinates me. I could have just dug into that for another hour. I'm like, really? Okay. And then that'll bear future investigation. By 1911, almost every state observed the day, and in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed it an official national holiday. Now, breathe with me. We talk a lot about how we grab hold of something, how the fact that Christmas being held in December is kind of ridiculous because the star that was in the sky that they would have followed to Jesus' birth was there in the summer, spring. And we grab a hold of things that have heart to them or feeling to them, and we nurture them. That's what Mother's Day has come to be about, that nurturing spirit within mothers. Well, the woman who started Mother's Day, so if you want to go back to the source, so to speak, she grew appalled by the commercialization of the holiday, florists and gifts and companies. She spent her later years and her entire fortune fighting to rescind it. That was fascinating to me. So here we've had a woman who began with a statement calling for peace. Then we had, and calling for all mothers to unite in erasing these divisions of nationality and race and country and geographic location, hoping to bring peace so that our sons would not be killed fighting someone else's fights. And history repeats itself. And history repeats itself. And history repeats itself. See, I think, this is the gospel according to Trish, that if we could really grab hold of unity and other walks of spiritualities, recognition that the source, the power of Godness, the creator, the whatever we want to call it, the outworking of universal law, whatever it is, that if we could really grab hold of what that was and what the call it brings is, all of these petty and silly and, okay, I'll say it, stupid divisions that we keep insisting upon would just melt away. Do you think God cares? The God as we would see as this power that beyond all power. Do you think that the power beyond all power, the source of all things, really gets down to the nitty-gritty of how someone shows up in skin as far as what clothes they wear, what color their skin is, what creed or religious walk they This outpouring force is all divine, all feminine, all masculine, all rolled into one. These divisions that we insist on creating and perpetuating, this divisiveness, it doesn't belong in that one. You know, if we really believe that God is the allness, unity principle 1, that unity principle 2, we are a part of that allness, just those two things, wouldn't that be enough for us to lay down our swords? Wouldn't that be enough for us to realize that we are a part of a oneness that transcends any division we could ever put on it? And wouldn't it, couldn't it, would it please bring us to the place of saying, oh my gosh, look at the beautiful and different and myriad ways that it shows itself. Look at how many different skins it comes to be in so that we might get to recognize it in all these different things. I think of our beloved Carl that sat over there, that every person he greeted in this unity on a Sunday morning, and I'm told even in grocery stores, he would say, in you I see God. In you I see God. And boy, I know any of you who had the blessing of being able to hold his hands and hear that, he didn't just say it. You suddenly went, oh my gosh, we're part of this oneness. Like the way that he embodied that statement, you viscerally felt it when he said it. In you, I see God. And if we can live like that, we become this divine nurturing presence in this world. I don't care what parts you have. I don't care whether you've shown up in the skin of a man or the skin of a woman or anything like that. It melts away in the realization that the godness that we are all a part of is so far beyond any of those divisions, and that the beauty of the fact that we show up differently adds to our enjoyment and our ability to just grasp it all and learn more, because we all show up in different ways with it. Some of the most nurturing people I have had the gift in my life to know have been men. So I celebrate moms today and all the ways that moms show up, and I can't help but go back to the originator of this holiday, who was basically saying, my mom fought for peace, which that's just, to me, there it is in a nutshell to me. How do you fight for peace? You know, the two things go like this. When you're fighting, you're adding to the energy of fight. Sadly, when we're doing that in war, what happens is one person just runs out of fight, or one side runs out of resources and ends up surrendering to the other side. See, there it is. Surrender. This space of, and I've been fascinated with it lately, those of you who have been in the groups that we do and the meditations and things, you're probably sick of hearing me say it, but I'm grabbing hold of this and teasing this out in my life of, I am fascinated right now with the Buddhist practice of non-attachment, of holding on to things in our lives with an open hand instead of a closed fist. That's such a motherly feeling thing to do for me. And you do not have to be a female to understand and feel that call to allow the flow. You know, we parents, like I said, I told my boyfriend this morning, he said, Happy Mother's Day. I said, Happy Mother's Day. He raised his son, almost his son's entire life, solely on his own. We know some dads like that in our sphere at this moment that are raising some amazing humans. Because it doesn't matter the skin you're in. It matters the ability to understand that the father image and the mother image, they're the yin and the yang, they're in all of us. Each one of us has the darkness and the light, the masculine and the feminine. And the more friendly we can get with that piece of ourselves. You know, we used to, my late husband used to introduce himself as my wife. He would say, I'm Trish's wife when we were at church. You know, I'm Trish's wife. And everybody would tease him. Yet he would stand at the back of any sanctuary I ever spoke in like a bodyguard. No, none shall pass. That was his thing. And when he passed, it was one of the hardest things when I stood back up on a platform was to not see him standing in the back protecting me. I still see him in the back protecting me. And he could be the softest, most wonderful place for me to land in my life. My boyfriend now is the same. This soft, most nurturing thing. My son just got married, you guys know, a few weeks ago? Yeah, maybe a month ago now. And my boyfriend spent most of the rehearsal time chasing me around with a plate of food because he wanted me to eat. Because he was concerned that I was not eating lunch that he prepared. You get it? You get it. We, in the role of nurturer, it comes from within. And I got the biggest news flash of all of us, no matter what skin you're in, you gotta mother yourself. You gotta nurture yourself if you want to ever nurture anyone or anything. And this call on Mother's Day to me is to look into my own self, my awareness, where I spend my time and energy in life, and figure out what I am nurturing. It brings to mind, I think about so I spent yesterday with my kids and my grandkids, and my granddaughter is about to graduate high school, and I was at my house that my son has been renting yesterday to help him clean it out because there's a new roommate moving into the house. And I looked around that house, and I looked around, and we were digging through memories and seeing pictures of him when he was little and my daughter when she was little. And, I have a almost 40-year-old daughter, and I have a 27-year-old son, and I have a 17 and 3/4-year-old granddaughter and an 8-year-old grandson. And I remember this. And we were looking at it today, and this is actually one of my daughter's blankets. So this blanket is nearly 40 years old. And last night when I was thinking about doing this talk and I was thinking about nurturing, I remember this. I remember standing and rocking, and I remember my sister-in-law and I had babies within a month and a half of one another, and we would laugh. About a year in, we would still stand there, no baby in our arms, rocking, talking to each other. You kind of got into this thing, and I thought, we need to remember this, all of us. And we need to look at what's in here. What are we nurturing? Because we often think of such sweet and loving things that we're nurturing. Men too. We often think of all these things in our lives that we're nurturing. And we think of this moment of this protective, this movement of flow and grace and rocking and loving. And we think about that often as the most loving and nurturing thing to do. And so many of us, what we're nurturing right now are feelings that we're not good enough. Are feelings that we're not worthy to be able to stand forward and do something. See, what are we holding on to and reinforcing and loving into being? Because what happens is we do this for a while, and then the nurturing, the baby gets bigger, and the baby stands on its own, and the baby walks on its own, and the baby moves into life on its own and touches other lives. And where we begin with a thought or an idea or a new belief in life, after a while, it's not a matter of holding it close and nurturing it. It's a matter of bringing it out into the world and moving it through so that it might grow and touch other things and other people. And so be careful what you're nurturing. And we don't think of things like, oh, I can't stand my body, right? Oh, I can't stand the way I look. Oh my gosh, I did it one more time. I hurt myself one more time, or by doing this. Or oh my gosh, I knew I should have stopped at 2 drinks and I drank 4. Or oh my gosh, I knew I shouldn't have said yes to going out with that group of friends that are not really friends, and I always feel bad when I leave. And that's what we're nurturing. So we're nurturing all of these things in our lives, and they're all happening in God, and they're all opportunities to grow and move and learn. And if we don't hold on to them with closed fists, and if we look at what we're holding in our hands and seeing what it is creating and moving through our lives and the lives of others, we're empowering power in the month of May. Empower our own power. It's not a matter, question what we're doing, what we're growing, what we're nurturing, what we're bringing into life. Is self-care one of those things? During the course of your day, do you do at least 2 things that you really get a kick out of? Do you do maybe even 5? Maybe you could rattle off 10 right now really quickly. And maybe you would be challenged to remember the last time you did something just because it makes you smile. Nurture yourself. Give yourself the love. And most especially, if you don't feel you got that nurturing in your family of origin, oh, for heaven's sakes, love yourself louder. Give yourself that love that you so deserve, because we all do. And I know life is busy. Tracy and I were talking about it this morning. Oh my gosh, we got graduations galore happening right now. We've got families that are changing, their whole setup. I want to point out something that's going to be on it is right now on the information station. You are cordially invited. You are joyfully invited to Trish's graduation, ordination, and dedication celebration. It has only taken 17 lifetimes. 17 years. I am just about to graduate. I'm just about to be ordained. And no, you do not, please don't call me Reverend Trish. It's exciting, it's thrilling, and I'm me, right? And we're going to have a blowout celebration here the first Sunday of June, because so the last day of May, I will fly off to Unity Village. I will be officially ordained on June 1st. Can't believe it. And then that Sunday, we're going to have a celebration here. A friend of mine, minister friend, is coming out of retirement to do the service here with us. And we are going to do a celebration of my ordination, but also get us a chance to look at each other and ourselves and what we're called to here. What are we called to create here? And to rededicate ourselves to one another and to the mission and vision that Andy so beautifully created with all of you for Unity of Sebring. We want to move forward, enlivened and emboldened into big and beautiful things to create unity. So we're going to have the Sunday service will be the regular Sunday service. We're going to have some celebratory music. We're going to have a fun little activity to do. And then we're going to have a potluck party for the ages, I've said. We will have, provided by our board, some potluck dishes. So you can come that Sunday and bring your usual potluck dish if you would like. If you don't bring your potluck dish, that's okay too. But bring something if you'd like to share. If not, that's okay. We'll have food here as well because some people are coming out of town for this. My kids will be here. My grandkids will be here. And so so June 7th, please come and celebrate this lifetime achievement that I just can't grasp yet. And before then, Tuesday is my final exam. So if you would if you think of it during the day, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I will be being grilled by a panel of ministers. I will be doing a talk. I will be, being tested and tried and hopefully not found too wanting, so that we're going. But yeah, so that's what's going to be happening. So with all the kids and with all, life gets busy, and in this piece of my life, Steve and I were talking about it, and he said, where in your life of things that have happened in your life, where does this fall? Top 10? I said, maybe top 5. This is so big for me. And my late husband was so sure I would do this. I was not. And he nurtured me on this path, and my family nurtured me, and you have nurtured me, and we have all nurtured one another, male, female, it really doesn't matter. I would love for us to drop those divisions, and we have all nurtured one another so that we can grow and blossom together, so that we can become more than we thought we could become. So I'm going to stand up here on June 7th wearing a stole that my late husband made for me 10 years ago, sure that one day I would be an ordained minister, sharing my heart with all of you, because we all nurture one another. We all help each other grow, and we all birth such beauty in each other's lives. Let's just keep it up, open-hearted, and show up in the beauty of who and what we are. Thank you all so much for being here every time that you're here, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Please visit www.unityofsebring.org for more information, to submit a prayer request, or to donate to our ministry. We hope to see you again very soon.